We'll start with that.
All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order, which is terrifying. Do we have a quorum?
We have 6 members present. We do have a quorum. We will move on to approval of the minutes.
I guess, does anybody have any comments about the minutes? Cool. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
To approve the minutes.
Great. Second?
Second.
Okay. Everybody in favor? Anybody opposed? No. Great. Okay.
You're doing great.
Cool. Thanks. So I guess we will move on to point 2, which is reports.
That would be 3, but
3, you're correct. Yes. Sorry. It's afternoon and I've still not had enough coffee. We'll move on to 3 reports. The KTA Chair's report. Well, Debbie's not here, so I guess she doesn't have a report, does she, that she sent in? No? Okay. I don't have one. I love buses. I'm grateful for buses, so that's good. Any comments from the other commissioners?
Yes. I guess I'm not sure exactly what the comment is, other than just that I wanted to share that I've been trying to ride the bus more often, and I'm thankful for the 15-minute service on Magnolia, which is the closest to my home. But I've struggled to get payment to work, and I'm curious if I'm doing something wrong or what the process is for someone who's having issues with payment. Is there a phone number, an email, some sort of service for anyone that may be having the same technical issues that I'm having?
Yeah, just to answer that, they can contact our customer service desk. They can walk them through that. We can also set up a meeting with them to actually go through that on their app, or if they're trying to use a smart card or trying to reload that smart card, we can walk them through the steps to help them through that process. So either way, just by contacting our customer service desk, again, we can either meet with them in person or we can try to walk them through it over the phone.
Have you received any feedback or any inkling of credit cards or debit cards working or not working versus Apple Pay, or any issues with any sort of digital payment?
Yeah, I can have Pat try to answer this question. She would know more than I would about that.
No issues with credit cards, debit cards, Apple Pay.
I'll just chalk it up as an issue, as a personal issue, and we'll see if I can continue to figure it out myself.
But definitely give us a call, and one of the customer service agents can assist you with that. They are subject matter experts on the transit app.
Thank you.
I have a quick question about the app, or the customer service line. Is it 24/7? What are the hours for that?
Customer service Monday through Friday, 4:45 a.m. to 6 p.m. And on Saturdays, 5:45 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. And Sunday, 7:45 to 5 p.m.
So someone will be able to get through if they're having an issue. Like I imagine you had an issue in the moment to.
Yeah, during those
Sort of.
times, someone is available to answer customer service calls.
Great, thank you.
Do we know, I'd asked this question a few months ago about how on the transit app there, at least with my phone, seems to be kind of a lag in where it shows the bus. Is there any more information on it if we're like, because it seemed like you all were saying that the app itself isn't the problem, it might just be my carrier.
Correct. It's the carrier, or it is our carrier in that area where the bus is. It's having a lag. So there's certain areas throughout any community. There's kind of there's dead areas for certain cell phone providers.
Okay.
So ours, I do believe, is through Verizon. And so there's certain areas within Verizon, although they're very good, there's certain areas where it lags a little bit.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone else comments?
Just a quick question about Cat Connect. I noticed that the book trip numbers are decreasing over the months. Any insight to Cat Connect and where we are with that?
Yeah, one of those customers, in talking to our dispatcher, Josh, he said that they actually converted over to Lyft service. So that person living in that area qualified for ADA paratransit service. So they've moved over to that service and away from the Cat Connect service. So that's the reason for the lower trip total this month especially, and that may be the case moving forward as well for that individual.
So is this still in the pilot type of phase, or is it something that
It is.
will?
It
Okay.
is still in the pilot phase, yep.
So are other participants able to still sign up who might want to?
Anybody living in that area can sign up. Anybody outside the area could actually get a ride to that area by going either to Route 12 bus stop or Route 20 bus stop. They can still get into that area if they're trying to get to those 3 low-income apartments. So it's only, if you're trying to leave from that area, obviously you're going to live in that area and try to get out.
Right,
So
right. I'm just curious why not more people are signing up to at least try it out. How do we get the information out to them? How is that being
So
shared?
originally, we started with the actual apartment managers. We took those to the apartment managers. We had a week-long event basically where we set up a tent and talked to residents about the program as well to try to get them interested in it. We actually have a bus stop for the Cat Connect. It says Cat Connect on it. There's a telephone number there as well. It's right there in the apartment complexes for each location. Only thing we can do now is double our efforts and go back out there and try to get more people interested in actually using the service while it's in the pilot phase.
Can I make 2 comments on that? So first, keep in mind, that's only 3 apartment complexes. It's a very small area, like that is the focus of this pilot. So it doesn't have a huge target market. And second, in general, this type of microtransit service does not serve a lot of people. Microtransit only moves small numbers of people, so those numbers are usually gonna look a lot lower than our fixed route service in general.
I work in healthcare, and I've shared with my patients, one patient in particular, the closest bus stop is a 23-minute walk. And so I helped her to do that. So as we are trying to increase intake, thinking about organizations that serve individuals who could live in those areas or benefit, there was a barrier, however, we had to sign medical documentation that she wasn't capable of walking the 23 minutes to get to a bus stop so she could qualify for it. And I'd ask us to reconsider barriers like that.
Was this for the ADA paratransit lift service, our lift service? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So that is a standard application that FTA through the ADA requirements requires us to actually have them go for an application process
Yeah.
to ensure that they are they're able to ride actually. Or
It's really
qualify
hard for us to complete those.
Yep.
And the part at the bottom that says you could, perjury by penalty of law makes a lot of people, such as myself, hesitant because we haven't watched them try to walk 23 minutes to get to the bus stop. So I don't know if any modifications considering ADA standards could be considered. But that is another way to get the word out. Talk to us in healthcare.
Yep. And then I will say too, just to add to your point, we are looking at having a third party actually go through that assessment. It's a lot of agencies do. My last agency did that. And so that's what we're looking at taking the next step in. And that not just having the person fill out the applicant fill out the application and send it to their doctor, but actually having a third party walk them through that process.
Okay, thank you for those questions. Those were good. If no other commissioners have comments, we will move on to staff, starting with City of Knoxville.
Yeah, just a few points. Again, want to point out ridership for fixed route, it is up 15.7%. I also want to let the board know we did go through our Federal Transit Administration trying to review. It is a compliance review over 27 different areas. We have been very, very fortunate here for the last 4 trying reviews. Again, these happen every 3 years. We have had 0 findings. So I want to commend staff, Kat, for a tremendous job. Yeah, it is very, very special because not too many agencies have 0 findings, especially as long as we've been able to do it. We are not a perfect agency, but we have passed the test multiple times. I do want to give a special thank you to Pat. She helped us through this process tremendously, and the rest of staff. It was definitely a team effort. So, and that is all for my comments.
All right, we'll move on to TPO.
Don't have any specific announcements, but I did want to also congratulate CAT staff. In my years, I sit through these for CAT and CAC and ETHRA. They all generally do very good, but this one I thought was really exceptional, and I will also echo that Pat was very prepared and did a great job. So just once again, congratulations.
Awesome. Great news. We will move on to number 4, which is new business and route modifications.
Yes, so today we have 3 minor modifications that we're asking KTA to approve. I will have UMAR walk through these. These are for Route 11, 15, and 34. Again, I do want to highlight these are minor modifications. They do not meet the definition of a major route change. Therefore, we do not need a public hearing. And I will have UMAR and his planning team walk through these.
I can step in. Good afternoon. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Clay Mercer, and I'm a planner here at CAT. And if you go to your packet, you should be able to see the first change we intend to do over on the Route 11. So this change has come on our radar because of some requests from the mall's general manager highlighting some safety concerns with our buses going through the mall parking lot. And so we put it on a long-term detour, and we are asking that you vote to implement or to turn the long-term detour into the new routing. And I'll walk you through that. The revision, instead of going into the mall, outbound from Morrell Road, you'll go right on Gleason, right into West Town Mall via the Belk entrance, circle around to service the bus stop, which is in front of Belk, exit the mall, turn right onto Gleason to resume regular route. The inbound routing will be from Gleason, turn left into the West Town Mall at the Belk entrance, circle around to serve the bus stop at the Belk entrance, exit the mall, turn left on Gleason, left on Morrell Road to resume regular route. And if you look at the map, we will be adding 4 new Route 11 stops. Morrell Road southbound and Gleason Drive westbound and West Town Mall, Gleason Drive eastbound mid-block before Morrell Road, and Morrell Road northbound mid-block before Kingston Pike. All right. If you go to the Route 15 change, so we are looking at this change because of some safety concerns regarding the right and left turn from Washington Pike onto Broadway, as well as some requests to serve Coker Avenue. And the routing change for this one is outbound from Woodland, you'll continue straight onto Coker, left on Nadine Street, and right onto Washington Pike. Inbound from Washington Pike, you'll turn left on Nadine Street, right onto Coker, and continue to Woodland to resume regular route. Now, we will be removing 3 stops at Broadway northbound and Washington Pike, one at Washington Pike eastbound and Nadine Street, and one at Broadway southbound and Lawson Avenue. We will be adding 3 new stops, one at Coker Avenue eastbound after Broadway, Nadine Street northbound and Washington Pike, and Coker Avenue westbound at Broadway. All right, if you go to the Route 34 change, we were looking at this change to address some concerns, particularly from the senior community out in this area, especially around, I believe the apartment complex is 5 Points, Walter P. Sorry. And so the route revision we are intending to do here, outbound from McConnell Avenue, you'll turn left on Bethel, left on Taylor Holmes Road, left on Kenner to resume regular route. Inbound from Kenner, you will turn left on Taylor Holmes Road, right on Bethel, right on McConnell to resume regular route. And we will be adding 2 new bus stops, one at Bethel Avenue westbound and McConnell Street, and one at McConnell Street southbound and Bethel Avenue. And we will be moving 1 stop from Kenner Avenue eastbound after McConnell Street to Taylor Holmes Road northbound and Kenner Avenue. Those are the changes that we would like for y'all to vote on today, but I do want to make you all aware of some other changes we are looking at in the future. We'll have a more formal presentation at the next board meeting, but you should all have a copy of this Route 1 revision that looks going toward the stadium, and then a Route 16 map as well. Yeah. And I'll walk you through the Route 1 revision. So in order to serve the stadium with the Route 1, the revision would be so outbound from Gay Street, right on Summit Hill, left on Patton, which turns into Willow, left on Central, right onto Summit Hill to get back on Gay Street to resume the regular Route 1. And then inbound, it would just be the regular Route 1. In this Route 16 proposal we're looking at was brought to our attention by people that want to go to the clinics and hospitals that are over in the Dallas Springs area. And the route revision that we're looking at is as follows. Outbound from Middlebrook, right onto Old Wise Garber Road, continue on, turn left onto Dallas Springs Boulevard, right on Middlebrook to resume regular route. Inbound from Middlebrook, you'll turn left onto Dallas Springs Road, continue right onto Old Wise Garber, left on Middlebrook to resume regular route. And that is all of the route revisions we're currently looking at. A few more, or Quentin, you want to jump in?
Yes, I just want to reiterate that we are asking the board to approve the June 2nd modifications. That's the Route 11, the 15, and the 34, which are minor modifications. And the August modifications, we just really want to put in front of you today, but we will have a public hearing at the next board meeting and present a more formal presentation concerning these changes. And it's primarily the Route 1 and the Route 16.
And I'll jump back in again. If you actually want to see the numbers regarding the service change, the miles and hours to why this did not merit a Title VI review, it's on the back of the Route 34 map. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes, and that's pertaining to those three routes we're asking you to vote on today, to approve today. Any questions or comments? Go ahead.
Thank you very much for walking us through. That was really clear. I don't have any questions or comments on the three minor route revisions for today, but just some thoughts on the Route 1 and questions on the Route 16. So for the Route 1, did you continue or consider when you're coming out of Willow just turning right on Central and going down to Magnolia instead of like doing the loop down to the stadium, go back to Gay, loop down again, go back?
We thought about that. We had some concerns whether or not they would let us make that right on the Central. And then we thought about the railroad tracks as well. And it's very, as you get past Jackson going north, it gets very narrow right there. There's some cars parked on the right side. And we just hesitated on taking a bus through there in that direction. Sometimes we have to go through there for a detour.
Yeah.
But every 15 minutes, we were like, we don't know if we really want to tackle that. But
it's you're making like two very small loops and going back to Gay Street. It just seems like we're doing a lot of deviations, in the words of Jarrett Walker Consultants. We're deviating a lot, So it seems like the kind of more direct path would be down Central. I do understand, there are the railroad tracks there, and it can get a bit narrow. So I'm curious if you could maybe do any further.
We can take that in consideration.
Take another look.
And take another look. We'll take safety out and take another look.
Okay.
And see if that's something that makes more sense.
Great.
Yeah.
And then on the Route 16, for the proposed deviation, how much travel time do you think it would add to the schedule?
We're looking at maybe at most 5 to 7 minutes, and that's on the generous side. I mean, it really shouldn't take them that long. And considering right now we have quite a bit of layover at that point, in and outbound. It would get us off the road and out of the way of traffic. So another reason why we're looking at that.
Thank you.
I had a question about the Route 15. Just, can you remind me the main motivation? I'm assuming it's that right turn on Washington that's probably challenging for a vehicle.
Yeah, so, if you're coming up Broadway, and really it's the right and left turn coming either off of Broadway onto Washington Pike, or the left turn coming off of Washington Pike. It's just tight, and some of our operators and buses have a good bit of difficulty just making that turn.
The first car accident I was ever in was at that intersection. I was 16 years old, anyway.
Jeez.
I did have a question about Route 1 and 16 as well, but I can also save it for later. I know you said there's more formal, but this is the proposed route change that would happen. It would be all the time, right? It's not just for special events. It would be all the time, correct?
Correct.
And then what are your anticipations as far as the baseball and soccer game road closures affecting this? Is that part of why we're maybe not turning right on Central, because it's closed for 4 or 5 days a week when there's a homestead?
Correct. That's at least part of the calculus of this particular routing. We assume there might be some special considerations for allowing our buses to get in and out of that area of the old city, but yes, for why we don't, particularly this area, that's why.
We're also hoping that they'll be finished with the road by August.
Okay.
Right now, the issue is they're not really finished with that area, not finished paving it. The rain has been sort of prolonging the work. So we're hoping by August that all of that's been cleared up and we're able to use that.
I know for certain at least the one Knox soccer team has Central from basically Southern Grit to Jig and Reel closed for 6 games this season, all the way in through October. So that would definitely affect that route as far as turning right on Central. And then also the Old City markets are now on Central instead of Jackson. So that definitely some challenges to consider. I'm sure you already have. My last question was how on time we feel this route could maintain during a baseball or soccer game.
Yeah, we've been guaranteed the cooperation from the city, engineering and whatnot, Public Works, to make sure we can get through there when there's some activity going on at the stadium. That's been reassured to me, at least, that we should have no problem.
And just to piggyback on that, so to execute this addition, we'd be looking at possibly bringing back another bus to space everything out. So we're accounting about 10 minutes of travel, and using Willow Avenue as kind of a midway break point to make sure that our buses are not bunched up together. So that should keep everything on time at the proposed 15-minute interval that we had been running over there. Or what, 10-minute interval? The 10-minute interval.
15.
15.
Another reason we considered making that left from Willow to Central is that's currently what our shuttles are doing right now. When they come off of Patton or Willow, they make a left on Central. And even when there's a game or if it's closed or whatever, they still allow that bus to make that left and come back up Summit. We decided not to just totally eliminate Depot and Williams at Marble City. So that's why we turned again back down Gay to make sure we serve Marble City. Otherwise, we would have came right back up Summit and left on Locust, but that's another thing we consider.
Yeah, I do believe, to your point, Candace, that it definitely warrants us to look at this, because there could be also Old City businesses that want to stop for us to be able to drop people off.
And there's not any proposed stops on this. I'm sure that's because this isn't the official presentation, correct? Okay, thank you all so much. I appreciate your time.
I have a litany of questions, if you'll bear with me, as always. I'm just going to run down these in order. So for the Route 11, and I know this isn't necessarily on you all, especially because the mall is privately owned. But as somebody who used to live out there and had a turn where I had to take the bus, I am curious if, especially with the new stops, there has been, or if there potentially could be discussion just to make sure that there is some sort of a connection from the road itself into the parking lot, because obviously it's suburbia, so it's basically just a grassy berm. I don't know if that's been part of the conversation, and I'd love to hear kind of how we're making sure that if you get off, say, at this mid-block crossing, you can safely get, I mean, obviously once you're in the parking lot, you're on your own, but like get into it safely, especially if you're in a wheelchair or something, and not have to go all the way around the outskirts of the mall.
So I can speak to that. Yes, currently on our bus stop improvement plans we've got in place, we have 2 improvements along this stretch. The first one, I believe, is this Morrill Road southbound and Westtown Mall stop, which is through the planning phase. And then we're looking at improving the bus stop at Gleason Drive westbound and Westtown Mall. Over here towards I guess it's where the big slope is, just to see what's possible to get down into that parking lot. But yes, we are looking at bus stop improvement over there.
Good. Okay, great. Because it was rough when I had to walk over there via bus years ago. Second, the Route 15, just because this is like a block from my house, the only question I had, well, I guess 2 questions. One, is there, because I know you guys have data on number of boardings, is there any concern, because I'm a big proponent and fan of the post office, and that would be my only worry, is that folks would have to, again, most people are able-bodied and can easily walk the block and a half, but just for the few folks that might take the bus to the post office, do you, and if you don't, you can just email it to us, but I would just be curious what the number of boardings are at that post office, since that is kind of our neighborhood, the closest post office. And then the other thing with this is, and this is just general, I think, good thing for me and all of us commissioners to know, when we make changes like this, because I see on your thing it says effective June 2nd, what is the general, and I don't want to say rule, because I'm not hitting at what is the legality, but do you all feel that even though this is a minor change, right? Because again, this is a block or 2 for me. So do we feel that giving people 2 weeks notice is enough to be like, oh crap, now I can't get to the post office? Because to me, I'm just thinking real life, we obviously don't want to drag our feet, obviously, especially if these are small changes that can make a big difference and a better difference in terms of timing. But I just feel like we could potentially say at least a month, that once we approve it, there's some way to, even if it's just taping something at the stop saying hey, just FYI, in a month this won't be here. Because I know back years ago when I was forced to ride the bus, it would have been devastating if one day I was walking to the stop and then suddenly I'm like, oh, the stop doesn't exist. So, and I know you guys have thought about this and you care, but I just, for our edification, I'd be curious why that is such a compressed timeline.
And I do want to uplift that, because we had patients who had a bus stop directly in front of the clinic where I work, coming regularly scheduled time thinking they can get off right at the clinic, and then that bus stop wasn't there anymore, and they didn't know it wasn't going to be there, and we didn't know, so that way we could warn the patients that they would travel a few minutes earlier.
Yeah.
So I just want to uplift that as a concern.
If you let us know what clinic that is, or are we still running that route?
There is no bus stop in front of us. It's behind us. It's the Cherokee Health Systems on Martin Luther King Jr. Drive across from Tabernacle, corner of Kyle and MLK, and that spot was right there for us, and our patients regularly got off there. And
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was under the
Yeah.
Cat Reimagine, and then we did put up signage for, I think,
Yeah.
a month before we actually removed
Yeah,
it.
yeah, they did. They should.
either way,
Yeah,
it
we
came
was-
as a shock for patients who may not have to come to the appointment every 3 months or so.
They need that stop, sounds like.
They do need that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
They
take
do
a
need
look
it.
at that.
Yeah, and I mean,
Concern-
even something, sorry, I was just going to say, and to build off that, even stuff that, because we're such a digital society now, and again, maybe this happens and I just haven't noticed, but if, a month or 2 in advance of something changing, there's a notification on the transit app that says hey, just FYI, this stop is moving.
Right.
Because again, if you're going to a doctor's appointment, I mean, I don't think I've been to the doctor since pre-COVID. Sorry, I know that's bad, but so if I went back to my doctor now and the bus wasn't there, there wouldn't be a way for me to know it by a physical sign. So that's my main concern with any change, even if it's small, if we are removing a stop, just because I want to give people, the grace to plan their lives.
Yeah. One thing about going back to the 15.
Yeah.
I understand your concern. Currently, there was a stop at Casey's right there on Broadway at Washington Pike. Since the construction of Casey's, that has not been an option for riders. Not even on the Broadway. But when you're coming back inbound on the 15 from Washington Pike, there is no bus stop there for the post office. It's so far back to Nadine already that they would have to make the left turn onto Broadway, and then there was a stop. So they would have to walk back to the post office. Am I correct about that? Yeah. But what we can do, like I said, we still have the bus stop at Nadine. They'll still have to walk down. Or, like I said, currently they would have to cross the street and walk back to the post office. They have to cross Broadway, which is a little closer. It is a little closer. But we did look at that because we saw it going away. But we just had a lot of safety issues from ops saying that they can't make the right turn. And then when they make the left turn, that immediate stop for that 15 is a safety concern as well. So that was our reasoning behind that. We had attempted to get this information up on our website 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, but I don't think it ever happened. But from now until June 1st, we definitely we'll get our signage out, we'll get it on the website, and we'll make sure that our customers are aware that that bus stop, primarily on the 15, that bus stop inbound on Broadway, turning from Washington Pike, will no longer be served by the 15.
Is there any way for us as a commission to just, and this doesn't have to be now, it doesn't have to be next month, but just to generally look at that policy of if a stop is removed, just again, so we can hash out the details of what do we feel is enough time to give people notice and how they're getting noticed. Because again, I know you all are doing everything you can, but real life does happen, and again, not that you all don't know that, but we're all just trying to give people as much notice as possible, especially because we are in a society where there are some people who might not, don't ride the bus frequently. So if they see a map that says here's a stop, and then they get on and suddenly it's, there's not been and again, I don't want to drag these things on, but I also want to do as best as we can to just not be like, oh, well, it was in a tweet a week ago. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's just not the reality of enough.
Yes. So sometimes what happens too is there's construction, road closes, we move the stop and we put up temporary, detours. We try to inform as many people we can with signage. Those kind of things are just out of our control. Sometimes even with this, a safety issue comes up, we have to make a minor detour to prevent those accidents, prevent our operators, and just a general plug from a safety concern. We're gonna have to put up some kind of temporary signage to make those people aware. And then have to come back to the board and say, okay, now we want to make this a long-term detour. So, I do think that there can be some kind of standard of, hey, we know this is going to happen. We're going to take this to the board, but we're going to put the signage out saying, I don't know how to really put the communication out there. You may lose your stop. Proposed. But sometimes too, our customers may really dislike that decision we're making, but at the end of the day, we have to look at the safety of this too, and we just have to make them. Yeah.
No, I absolutely. I think a lot of this, makes sense with, wanting to keep people safe. But again, I think it's just if we could, and I think you all would probably agree, the other commissioners, that at least looking at, what is that policy in terms of a timeline, and is there, a need to change it? Is there any way that we can, because maybe it already is, but just to make sure that there's kind of like a written on paper, if a stop goes away, what is a reasonable amount of time to give people warning without also making sure that it doesn't take us 18 months to simply remove one stop and change routes because we want to get the buses moving. I get that. So anyway, so that was my main concern with 15. 34, I was just going to say it sounds great. I mean, if it was requested within the community to better serve seniors, that's awesome. I don't have a problem with that. But you answered my questions about the Middlebrook route. The only, I guess, additional question I was going to have is with something like that, do you base estimated, do you make a decision like that just based on how many people are employed in that little area? How many, like when it says that there was a request for this, is that a dozen people, one person? Like what is the metric for that?
So in that case, this is, we've had providers reach out to us saying that their, I guess, patients or people that, utilize their services have had some difficulty accessing their services where the bus stops currently exist on Middlebrook Pike now. So.
Okay, good. So people who are directly involved with that. Okay, that's great. And then I mean, there's obviously a lot that we could talk about forever. I think about the downtown connector. My only thing, and I've talked to Isaac about this, my main, not concern, but kind of just my 2 cents is that obviously with the stadium coming in, and the influx of people downtown, which I think is great and I support, one of the things that, I think worries me and a lot of people, both downtown residents and non-downtown residents, is like, I don't want to see the area around the stadium become just a giant parking lot. Because part of the charm of that is the warehouse area, and we know that parking is just in so many ways bad for cities, right? And we want to get people riding transit. But I know both because I've read like data and I've experienced it that this route would go right by, and again, I know there aren't stops on here, and so maybe this is a stop, but I just want to make sure that the Dwight Kessel garage is included as a stop in this route, because that is a parking garage for those that don't know. That's the one that's like, where are we? Like right here, like behind the Truist building. And I was, it's got one of the automatic counters on it to show you how many available spots are in there. Like last year I came downtown, didn't even know it was happening, but it was Rossini Festival, which is packed. Okay. There were like 950 spots open in that garage because people forget it's there, it's public, it's kind of like out of the way. And so if we really want to, in part, use this connector as a shuttle to the baseball stadium, I think we would be missing the mark if we are not including an asset like that already exists. I mean, it's there, sadly, it's not housing, it's not shops, it's a parking garage. So I just want to make sure we're looking at having a stop there and not just at like the Market Square garage.
Yeah, we actually already have a active stop on the one at that particular garage.
Okay.
So this would actually enable people to use that to get to the stadium. And then not only that, but they can use other routes because the one does go to our main hub over here. Cool. So you could take any route from any part of Knoxville, get to the station, take the one to the stadium, and then be able to get back. So.
Okay, good. Because I know with the shuttle, that was my biggest concern that I expressed to Isaac. I was like, we have like 4 garages on the outskirts of downtown that weren't serving the shuttle. So that's good to know. Okay, cool. That's all I have. Thanks.
And as a plus, that stop is a sheltered stop, so it's good.
Can I ask one follow-up question? This is mostly, I guess, for Quentin and Umar. How many times a year do you update the schedules regularly? Are we aiming to change the June ones and August ones for like those regular schedule changes? I don't know how many times you usually update the schedules each year.
You mean the printed schedule or just schedules in general? We try to align our schedule changes with the shakeups. Generally.
When do the shakeups occur? That's what I'm asking.
Shakeups occur in August, January, and May.
Okay.
This June was just an attempt to sort of put these revisions in a little sooner than waiting all the way to August because of the requests we've been holding back for so long implementing them.
Got it.
So that's why we sort of.
Perfect. And the proposed changes for August are for with that shakeup. So that's the timing for that. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, just a reminder that No, the downtown connector, Route 1 and Route 16, these, we're presenting them to the board. We will not vote on those until next month, and we'll have to have a public hearing. We're only voting on Route 11, 15, and Route 34 today.
And are we voting on those as a package or individually as each route?
A motion can be made in any way. A motion can be made to approve all three as in one vote, or we can take them up separately. It just depends on how the commission wants to proceed.
Okay, first, does anyone have any other comments about the routes, questions, concerns? Am I allowed to make motions?
I would like to motion. I will
great,
motion
okay.
to approve the three proposed route changes for June 2nd.
I second that.
Third.
Okay, so we've got a first, second, and a third. So all in favor of these changes, say aye. Aye. Okay. None opposed. Perfect. I guess next is old business then.
We have no old business.
Okay, great. I've been told that we do not have anyone signed up for public comment. I guess, does anyone have any? So, ma'am, if you want to come up to the mic and give us your, name and address, you'll have roughly 5 minutes to speak. Absolutely.
I think everybody can see it.
I'll try it.
Hello. Thank you.
All right, if you can give us your name and address, please.
I know it. Look at that, not me. My name is Libby Michaels, address 5411 Wassman Road, Knoxville, Tennessee 37912. We bought our house in June 2018. My main goal was to be strong, be independent, and take care of myself. From my bedroom window, I could see Cat Bus 90 going east and west every 30 minutes on Cedar Lane. Bus 90 West took me to my pharmacy, Western Avenue, Walmart, Inskip Library. Bus 90 East took me to Superstop, my doctor office near Fountain City Duck Pond, Kroger. Bus 22 took me to the dentist, library, optometrist, wonderful downtown Knoxville, and my neurologist. I did not know that Bus 90 was disappearing August the 26, 2024. The Knoxville Transportation Authority Board approved CAT Reimagined April 25, 2024. The trolley disappeared. CAT began service to the University of Tennessee campus with a downtown connector route every 12 minutes and 8 buses an hour on Howard Baker Jr. Avenue. I'm an RN. December 20th, 2005, back home after work in Norris, I had a ruptured brain aneurysm. Flown to UT Hospital, Methodist Medical Center. Many weeks I was unconscious, had brain surgery, had 2 pulmonary emboli, a permanent Greenfield filter, was in a nursing home, then home, and outpatient Patricia Neal rehabilitation at Fort Sanders. I use my cane. My speech is mostly clear. I'm on blood thinner, seizure medication, 3 different blood pressure medications. I use Lyft bus to doctors or dentists. You have to call 24 hours before you need them. Lyft cost equals $4. When I use the bus, I use one-day pass tickets. I exchange 10 tickets to Cat Pay. The cost of the bus is cheaper, $1 all day. A good driver, clean bus. I feel safe on the bus. Bus 90 on Cedar Lane Drive is 2.4 miles. This is Cedar Lane from Broadway to the railroad tracks near Ingalls. In Knoxville News Sentinel, April 19, 2025, CAT Director Isaac Thorne stated, offered the free shuttle proved to be popular mode of transportation for Knoxville Smoky fans, with 1,826 riding to and from the stadium for the home opener and 1,791 people riding to and from the stadium the next day. May the 9th, 2025, Knoxville News Sentinel printed that the shuttle comes by the garages about every 10 minutes and runs during and after games. No fare, just free. The residents on Cedar Lane are Knoxvillians. We would pay for the bus service. Some would love to ride on the bus for baseball and soccer games. Hundreds of all fans use public transit to the game and back home. The shuttle service by CAT to enjoy football games at Neyland Stadium. Safe, easy, and affordable will not be available on Cedar Lane because no bus and no sidewalks. I took pictures of apartments and a church on Cedar Lane. There are more apartments and 2 more churches. The bus service is necessary. Kta Reimagined can make a step forward, not backwards, to provide efficient, accessible, and reliable transit service on Cedar Lane. KTA Board must show ability and provide the bus for us. Please help. Thank you, Libby Michaels.
All right, thank you, Ms. Michaels. I can't see your board, but I'm sure it's lovely. It's the backside is lovely.
Yes, there's even more apartments than there and 2 more churches, so.
Okay, and I think we'd all agree. I'm glad you're feeling better. Okay, does anyone else any comments? No. Okay. Well, with that, then I guess we will set our next meeting for May the 20. Yep, I was like, this is not it. Yep, we will set it for June 26th. My packet says May, and we will adjourn. All right, thank you all for coming.